This video is dedicated to Antonio Rouse. Antonio, thank you. Hamza versus Lathiel, Florian, and Zedruu. A 2-lander with card draw and some decent creatures. Don't like keeping a 2-lander with no ramp, but I'll keep that one. Soul Warden for the other Selesnya player. Okay, we get into our 3rd land. I'm in no particular rush to get down at Hopeful Initiate, so get down a tap land instead. Florian playing a Wayfarer's Bauble. So then from the life game player it is a Voice of the Blessed. They are curving out nicely over there. We draw into a Night of Autumn. So I'm wondering now, we could go Hopeful Initiate. Our opponent's going to get creatures out. Go Hopeful Initiate now. Mana Gorger Hydra the turn after, and then by turn 4 can we swing in with Hopeful Initiate? Probably not. I think I'd just rather hold on to it for the Beast Whisperer, to be honest. Draw another card with Hopeful Initiate. Don't think the training's going to be all that useful to us. Arcane Signet for Zedruu. More ramp in a Talisman for the Rakdos player. And that takes them into End the Festivities. So pretty much doing that to get rid of the Soul Warden, I imagine, which is a great means of life gain for them. Should really slow down the Voice of the Blessed. A Soul Ring off of a Reliquary Tower there. Followed by Lathiel, everything going pretty well for them. Commander does have lifelink, so they can trigger the Spirit. Smothering Tithe would be really good to get down. I think we're fine to get down the Mana Gorger Hydra though. Argument to be made for Night of Autumn to go on the Soul Ring, but we need to start actually doing something with regards to counters, I think. Zedruu coming down for the Jeskai player. Parasitic Impetus, +2/+2 and is goaded. So we have to attack with it every turn, but not attack Florian. And we're going to get drained for 2 every time we attack. So it is 5 damage, including some lifelink damage, swinging in at Florian this time. Plus counter goes on the Spirit, and this needs 4 plus counters on it for Flying and Vigilance. 10 or more is indestructible. Then it is Sunscorch Regent, so yeah, that's pretty much another Soul Warden. Not quite as good with regards to life gain. The Commander put in a plus counter on the Sunscorch Regent, and they targeted the Voice of the Blessed as well. Alright, excellent, we get into a land, so I think we go for Smothering Tithe here. Try and actually start casting multiple spells a turn. Sunscorch Regent going to gain a life. Mana Gorger Hydra triggers on our casting of spells as well. Plus counter on Voice of the Blessed from the Sunscorch Regent. So that now has Flying and Vigilance, is a 6/6. And turn sideways in towards Zedruu here. Try and dissuade the life game player from swinging in at us. I'll be happy to swing back with a massive Mana Gorger Hydra if they decide to swing any of their big stuff in at us. Lathiel triggers at the end of each end step, so another counter goes on Voice of the Blessed. Sarkhan the Masterless. And turning Sarkhan into a dragon. It does not gain haste, which is strange with this Planeswalker, so yeah, just plussing it to put more loyalty on there, I imagine. I think they would have been better off with a flying blocker. Although these go wide anyway, so maybe just not playing the Planeswalker at all would have been a better idea. Florian, Valdar and Scion. And then sacrificing the Wayfarer's Bauble, so at least this thing still isn't indestructible. It is a 10/10 in the air though. Ugh, Rishkar's Expertise, I mean, it's good into our Smothering Tithe. They go up to 14 in hand and they get a free spell here. The free spell is Branching Evolution. It's interesting to see that the whole plus counter theme is going better for Lathiel. I do think Lathiel is better than Hamza. Maybe put Hamza in the 99 of a Lathiel deck. This mixes lifelink, life gain, obviously, and plus counters, so yeah, you get the best of both worlds here. There are a lot of effects where you gain life and get to put plus counters on things, so you know, if you want a plus counter themed deck in Selesnya, I think Lathiel is better than Hamza. Well, we shall see during this game what the benefits of both are. This making it up to an 11/11, so still not quite indestructible. Oh, did they just gain life? Playing a Kabira Crossroads gains them 2 life, so 11 plus counters on this now. A 13/13 indestructible Vigilance swings in at us. That's surprising. Oh, actually no, not with all the Smothering Tithe tokens now. So an 8/7 and a 13/13 we get. Go plummeting down to 14. The only saving grace here is that we do have a lot of plus counters on the Mana Gorger Hydra, which is imperative for us to get down our Hamza this turn, hopefully. we'll be able to do something here. A Mana Crypt might help us. Let's riskily play out the Mana Crypt. We are only at 14 life, and we need a means of bounce or exile for this now anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter how many plus counters end up on it. Play the Elemental Bond as well for when our commander comes in. Play out the Beast Whisperer before we play our commander. We do have to pay 2 extra mana for it here, but I think it's worth drawing the extra cards for the extra 2 mana that it costs. So Hamza costs 5 as opposed to 6, thanks to the whole plus counter thing being on Mana Gorger Hydra. We need lots of creatures with lots of counters on them preferably, but not doing too well on that here. Draw a card from the Elemental Bond. We've already drawn an Abzan Falconeer. That is a Plains for us. I'll hold off on that for a minute. Then we'll play ourselves a Pride Malkin so that our things will cost 2 less. Draw some cards in the process. Just getting into another land, annoyingly. Plus counter can go on Pride Malkin. We don't want them to kind of get a 2-for-1 on us. We'd rather keep these 2 creatures, so less risky to put it on here. Abzan Falconer gonna cost a single mana, and we are gonna have 2 flyers in the air here. Okay, a 3 visits is... yeah, I think that's worth doing, because we haven't done the best on the mana front. Yeah, not gonna do anything with the Gavany Township or anything here, so I'll just play the Plains. Let's play the Hopeful Initiate. Okay, a Dramoka's Command. So, yeah, I don't think fighting's gonna be of any use to us. So we'll play the Knight of Autumn as well. I think that we're probably best having that come down with plus counters, as much as I'd love to blow up some stuff over here. Okay, now seeing a Vorinclex. A little bit too late for that. So have that come in with plus counters so that we've got another flying blocker. And we're holding up Dramoka's Command and praying at this point, really. Have to swing in with the Mana Gorger Hydra, so... oh, we can't attack a Planeswalker, curiously, when we're goaded. Haven't dealt with gold all that much on Magic Online because it hasn't really been supported, so we will go in at the player instead. These are now at 30-29 and a 31-31 by the way. So Zedruu taking the full whack. Does have trample, so there's not much need to block there. Okay. Lathiel putting plus counters on all of our stuff, curiously, so giving all of our stuff flying and trample. Now Sarkhan making that flying dragon. And it is a True Conviction. That is... yeah, that seems like a strange one for Zedruu to cast. Don't know how much use they'd make of a True Conviction. They've got a double striking lifelink dragon in the air now though. And also not leaving up a blocker, swinging in with Zedruu at the Florian player. So Florian not blocking there. They will gain 4 life thanks to the double strike and lifelink. And it's even more plus counters going on to the Voice of the Blessed, so it is a 41-41 now. Getting double the counters thanks to the Branching Evolution, of course, which we could get rid of with the Dramoka's Command. And Florian just decides to give up there. So there's nothing we can really do here. We can't really fight anything. Can't fight with a 19-19, unbelievably. Another plus counter doubler. Hardened Scales adds an additional plus counter to their stuff. Just hoping that they don't have trample at this point. We've got 12 cards in hand thanks to the Reliquary Tower and the Rishkar's expertise last turn. So that is a Druid class. Gain a life whenever a land enters. Can play an additional land. Playing out Mana Crypt as well. Levelling up the Druid class to level 2 so that they can play an additional land. And then it is a bounce land, so I imagine that they bounce the life gaining land. No, it was a jewel that they bounced there. They do gain a life to that. And there we go, a Pride Malkin, so we can fight that, thankfully. We'll wait for them to swing in. What are they going to get? I don't think it really matters unless they've got swords for this. In which case, we're done anyway, so... alright, this player's scooping before they see what's happening. Our opponent, assuming that they know how the game's going to play out. You see that a lot on Magic Online. Oh, it put the plus counters on here anyway, so I thought that was going on the Pride Malkin. Wait for them to declare attacks, so that they'll tap down a few creatures. One of them has Vigilance. We'll go for the Dramoka's Command, plus counter on a creature and fight. So choose a creature for the plus counter first. Put it on the Hopeful Initiate. And then we'll choose a creature to fight. It is the Mana Gorger Hydra against the Pride Malkin. So hopefully getting rid of the trample here. Yes, we do. So we can make some chump blocks at this point. Question is, do we want to blow anything up with this on the way out? I'd rather hold on to the mana, to be honest. I don't think there's anything... I mean, yeah, Hardened Scales and Branching Evolution are effectively the same thing. So we'll chump with the Hopeful Initiate and the Knight of Autumn. And manage to survive at 12. We'll see how many cards we can draw. Authority of the Consuls will have our creatures coming tapped. We don't have haste anyway. Oh, actually we do. We've got Vorinclex that could have done something. They're at 60 life. I doubt we're doing anything this game. Gonna have to be some really, really good top decks. So win the Mana Crypt flip. Watch us draw into a land. Okay, a Dusk Shell Crawler can put a plus counter on itself. Not that it matters. Let's play the Dusk Shell first though. Oh no, actually, Vorinclex doesn't cost as much as I think it does. Yeah, let's play the Vorinclex. Thanks to all the plus counters that our opponent gave us, curiously. Draw a card to the Beast Whisperer. And of course, it's a land. We draw another card to the Elemental Bond. A Lightning Greaves, so yeah, the haste doesn't matter because of the Authority of the Consuls. Play the Dusk Shell Crawler. Alright, a Cathar's Crusade with no creatures in hand. We'll draw another one. Oh no, we won't. From the Dusk Shell Crawler, it doesn't have enough power, so we won't. Plus counter. Vorinclex already has a plus counter on it, so... Oh, Vorinclex already has Trample, I should say. So, don't think it really matters if it has flying. We'll put it on the insect. Might want to chump block with that. So, play out the Cathar's Crusade. We just need to hope that we get into enough creatures, and that our opponent doesn't have another Trample enabler. And like I said, the Lightning Greaves, we could protect the Abzan Falconer with it, I suppose. That's probably a good idea. So play the Lightning Greaves and put it on the Abzan Falconer to give it Shroud. Just really, really missing any spot removal here, unfortunately. We bought ourselves a turn or two, maybe, depending on what our opponent has. I mean, ultimately, they can go for the board wipe and then just swing in with this. See the Great Henge from our opponent. Could do with drawing that myself. Although it's not necessarily as good when you're empty-handed. Tapping that down and gaining a couple of life. Let's have a look here. 62-61. And a 75-75. And yeah, that's a 6-6 with lifelink. That is a Storm Herd. Create X 1/1 Pegasus creature tokens with flying, where X is your life total. So that is 68 of those. And this gives plus counters to non-creatures or non-tokens. Yeah, it's non-tokens, so they will just come down as 1/1s. Thankfully don't have their Soul Warden anymore. So we pretty much need a big card draw spell like Rishkar's Expertise or Return of the Wild Speaker at this point. They play another land, that is Strip Mine, not really particularly worried about that. Swinging in with only 2 creatures, so let's double check. Flying Indestructible Vigilance. Flying, so we just jump with a couple of things here. Think it has to be Hamza. We can guarantee that we play a creature next turn. And the Pride Malkin will lose the Trample. We lose the Mana Crypt flip, so we go down to 9. And a Nature's Law. Alright, so we've got 1 creature to play at least. And it's only going to cost us 4 mana, thankfully. So draw from the Beast Whisperer. We'll draw from the Elemental Bond again. And it's just another land, yeah. We're not destined to do anything this game. Couldn't get into mana at the beginning of the game, and now we can't stop drawing it. Plus counter on all of our stuff to the Cathar's Crusade when it enters as well. Okay, Sun Titan. Yeah, our stuff's coming in tapped is the only problem. We could get the Hopeful Initiate, or the Knight of Autumn could blow up the Authority of the Consuls. I don't see that that really does anything. We can try it though. Suppose we can see what we draw into before we decide. So play the Sun Titan for only 2 mana. Draw into another land. Never would have guessed that, would you? Sun Titan, we have to choose a target while it's on the stack, so I'll just go for the Knight. Alright, a Beast Within. So we could have the Knight come in and blow something up, like the Great Henge. Obviously it's the Pegasus tokens we're worried about. But yeah, we can have this come in untapped, just in case we're able to somehow deal with these Pegasus tokens. So let's go Beast Within. On to Authority of the Consuls. Sun Titan will resolve. Say yes to the Knight of Autumn coming into play. Knight of Autumn just comes in with a bunch of plus counters on it. It didn't trigger the Elemental Bond for another card draw, so just play the Brush Land, and we'll hand the victory over to our opponent. Yeah, getting into all that mana, getting flooded at the end there, and not seeing Swords or Path, that really hurt us. Yeah, if we'd drawn into some spot removal at some point that game, we might have done alright. we would have been done a long time ago, and the only spot removal we really got into was the Dromoka's command, and yeah, that wasn't very useful to us by the time we could actually use it. So hopefully our opponent just goes wide on us here, deciding to play out more stuff. That is sacrificing a creature and drawing a bunch. If our opponent plays around too much here, then I'll just concede, because they well and truly have us. This is one of the times where you wish you had a Settle the Wreckage. Alright, playing a Rock's Faithmender for some reason. Maybe they are playing around Settle the Wreckage or something like that, a comeuppance. Then an Angel of Destiny, so they should be able to win with that here, I think. Oh no, they'll need haste on it, won't they? I think this needs to hit. Oh, it's whenever a creature you control deals combat damage. So yeah, I mean, they go wide on us and kill us anyway. I'm not sure what they're really doing here. Alright, eventually deciding to turn everything in sideways. So let's see, we won't bother blocking here, we'll see how much damage we are dealt. We go down to minus 224 from 9, so yeah, pretty convincing victory for our opponent. You can see all of the Angel of Destiny triggers on the stack there, so it's a good game to my opponent. I think I'm off to make a Lathiel deck now. Like I said before, I think it's a better +1 commander than Hamza is. I mean, maybe we would have been able to get something going this game if we'd actually made some decent draws. Let's see here. Yeah, another land. Okay, so that pretty much sums this game up. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and consider donating on Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.